Thank you, everybody, for coming. This is a wonderful evening. We actually had record pre-registration, and I'm pretty confident that we have record attendance for any OWL event ever. And if they're still here, we have the ESCRS leadership as well. Thomas Conan, Oliver Findle. Thank you, Brad, for bringing them. Yes, I'm going to call out some people. So guys, this is just always such a pleasure. It's my favorite evening of any event. And so just please put on your calendars. It's always Sunday evening, 5:30 p.m., so May 7th. We're going to be having another one of these in San Diego, my hometown. And we're just very excited for the signature event and awards ceremony here. It's a great program lined up. Thank you, Maza Martin, our co-chair for the programs director. I'm going to let her introduce the speaker later, but I've done a lot of online stalking of this woman, and it's incredible. Oh, I'm going to take my name badge. Okay, I must say this is our annual meeting that we use to take care of some official business, so please bear with me for a moment. I would like to ask the board members and committee chairs and volunteers to stand up very quickly. OWL is, if you could all rise. I see you all, yes. OWL is a 501c3 organization, and we rely heavily on our volunteers, on our board members, on our co-chairs, everybody in between. These people, these ladies and gentlemen, give a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to make this happen, so thank you all. Just phenomenal. And I would be remiss to not comment about Gaynor Freeze, who is the one staple in OWL, who is just, if you don't know her, you need to know her. That is the true woman behind everything here. I'd also like to give a special thanks to Dr. John Vukic, if John is here. John is rolling off our board after 6 years. Thank you, John. We're still going to work with you. I still have my claws in you, but thank you so much for your contributions. It's just been wonderful, and continue to ideate with you for the OWL growth in the future. So I'm also pleased to welcome 2 new board members. Can Pat Morris and Laura Rousseau please stand? If you don't know these 2 incredible women, I really strongly recommend you go and introduce yourself. Again, I've done a lot of online snooping. They are phenomenal, phenomenal leaders in our industry, and I hope that you all get to know them. Thank you. It's going to be a wonderful ride ahead, I promise. All right, so a little OWL business here. On your seat is a copy of our 2022 annual report, and I would like to ask for a motion to approve this. Do I get a second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Yay, okay, let's do this. And guys, I also love that at this time I get to briefly thank our sponsors and our partners, because really we're here to get together today because of the contributions that so many companies make to ensure that we can have this dynamic environment that is so inclusive, that is so educational. And what I love about it is that it's function agnostic. When you walk into this room, we're all on the same page, and we're all trying to better ourselves and the ophthalmic industry. So with that, I'd actually like you to raise your hand, and it's going to be a little while, but keep your hand raised if you are a part of one of these companies. Our partner sponsors: Alcon, Aerie Pharmaceuticals, Allergan, an AbbVie company, Zeiss, Horizon Therapeutics, J&J Vision, Novartis, Star Surgical. Guys, thank you. Continued dedication. I sincerely thank you so much, because with your support, we can do events like this. And really, our premier sponsors tonight, Alcon, and the major event sponsor, EyePoint Pharmaceuticals, again, you're really helping us make this happen. We also have our sponsors for the awards ceremony that's happening later: Star Surgical, CorneaGen, and Apellis Pharmaceuticals. Thank you, guys. It gets better. There's more, team. Annual sponsors: Kayla, Glaukos, and Tarsus, and uniting sponsors: Apellis, BVI Medical, Corneagen, Lexitas, Modernizing Medicine, Dompe, Aura, Eye Care Partners, and RVL Pharmaceuticals. I asked Gaynor, I'm like, do I have to read all of these? And she said, yes. And I turned it and I'm like, I want to read all of this because I want this to be an inclusive organization where we celebrate how many companies are dedicated to the mission of OWL. So again, I just want to say thank you. We love working with you, and we want to hear ideas and continue to provide value to your employees and to everybody in this space. So one other kind of just housekeeping, but a very interesting paraphernalia that you have in your seats is the Empower magazine. And I want to take a moment to thank Cheryl Stevenson, who puts this together. Guys, this is a monumental effort as well. And when you're flipping through this, just one thing to highlight, look at the champion membership page. I just listed a lot of companies who are really standing behind OWL. These are individuals who have just phenomenal personal contribution and dedication. Thank you to all of those people. The list grows. It started at 1 page. Now we're at 2. Let's get it to 3 or 4, guys. Come on, we can do this. Okay, couple other things. Avenue Live, OWL volunteers. Again, we just could not do this without you. I want to thank Orasys Pharmaceuticals, Julie Speed. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Yes, it took me a long time. I have a lot of anxiety about saying that, but Orasys. She led our nominations committee, which really brought us here tonight, and to honor all of the nominees, because it's really just a privilege and honor to be nominated, and then to celebrate those winners as well. And thank you to our mentors who have also agreed to be mentoring our new fellows class. Guys, we just have so much going on. I really encourage you to dive in. This is really just the surface of everything that OWL has to offer. And peel back the layers. There's a lot more underneath. So I'm going to stop. Let's get started. Could not be possible this evening without Alcon. And I would like to bring up Kristen Brotherson, who is the Vice President of U.S. Surgical Marketing, to say a few words. Thank you, Kristen.
Hi, everybody. It's so great to see so many familiar faces this evening. On behalf of Alcon, I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to the OWL organization. We just really relish the opportunity to continue to be the premier sponsor of this outstanding event. So I'm Kristen Brotherson. I should probably say hello. Erin, thank you so much for the lovely introduction. I really appreciate it. You know, when asked to get on stage in front of you tonight and talk about why OWL and Alcon make such a beautiful partnership, it was really easy for me to find the words to say. Because as I look out in this audience, and Arthur, I'm looking at you, Kathy, I'm looking at you, Magda, Amanda, I see so many faces of people that throughout my career have made me feel a part of something. I remember my first OWL event, and it was a room like this, and it was full of names that I knew, faces that I had seen, and it was really intimidating. I walked in by myself, and I was just looking for somebody to grasp onto. And I remember in that moment seeing Magda and seeing the hand reach out and the hug and the love. And what I want to say is, be that connector. We all have friends here that we're excited to see, but make sure when we see somebody standing alone, that's why we're here. Diversity is the first step, but inclusion is more important, and belonging is even more important than that. And that's what we're here to do. And when I think about how Alcon is putting this not only into words, but into actions, I think about some of the steps we've taken over the last couple of years. Putting policy in place and positions in place, like a chief diversity officer, making sure that people and D&I are at the center of our objectives, all the way up to our senior leaders. In fact, I'm very happy to report that right now, 47% of our associates in our workforce are female, and 49% of those represent U.S. ethnic diversity class. And so this is really important work, but there is still more work to be done. And it all starts with those of us in this room. When we work together and build each other up, when we make those connections throughout industry and ophthalmology, we make ophthalmology better. And that's what we're all here to do. So again, on behalf of Alcon, I am extremely honored to get us kicked off tonight. And we just want to say thank you to everybody in this room. Thank you so much. Erin, you want to come on back up?
You distilled it, Kristen. That was amazing. All right, guys. This is a very exciting part of the program where we talk about our keynote. I'm going to bring up Maza Martin again to give a much more formal introduction. Maza, please come up. And while she's walking, anybody who doesn't know Maza, please get to know her. This woman is fascinating and brilliant. And I think we were talking about it in the board meeting today. I don't think that there's a 6 degree of separation. I think it's 2 degrees of separation for everybody and this woman. So thank you, Maza. Please give introductions.
Thank you, Erin. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us in this wonderful, amazing turnout for OWL tonight. As many of you know, I'm a native Chicagoan. So when I knew that, yes, yay, Chicago, hey. When I found out that AAO and this OWL event was going to be here in Chicago, I said, we have to find an amazing local speaker. And using the familial network, friend network, we found this amazing woman who's going to speak with us tonight. So Eloiza Domingo is the Vice President of Human Resources and Chief Inclusive Diversity and Equity Officer for the Allstate Corporation. She assumed this role in 2021 with responsibility for shaping the multi-year DE&I plan to create an enduring impact both inside and outside of the company. She's previously held similar roles at Astellas Pharma and Johns Hopkins. Her background really spans various industries, including academia, academic medicine, and pharmaceuticals. She has been recognized as a 2022 Top Chief Diversity Officer by the National Diversity Awards, one of HR Digest's most influential DE&I officers of 2022, a visionary in her field by the Los Angeles Times, and one of the 100 most influential Filipino women in the world by the Filipino Women's Network, as well as many other awards. She holds an MS in Higher Education and Student Affairs with a minor in Counseling and concentration in Diversity Education, and a BA in Psychology and Sociology with a minor in Spanish from Indiana University in Bloomington, Illinois. Please join me in welcoming our speaker tonight, Eloiza Domingo.
Good evening, everybody. So I'm gonna stand here. I'm not gonna use the podium. I'm 4'10" on a good day, so you're not gonna be able to see me. So first of all, I want to thank Maza and Gaynor. I don't know where she is. There she is. For inviting me here tonight, as well as kind of coaching me through tonight's remarks and guiding me to be here with you tonight. It's quite an honor. And as Maza mentioned, I am here in Chicago, so it was a nice hour and a half ride for like 8 miles, right? Like, golly. But I'm here, right? Okay, so as Maza mentioned, I serve Allstate Corporation as their Chief Diversity Officer. We call it Inclusive Diversity and Equity, and I'm also one of their Vice Presidents for Human Resources. But I hold a lot of other titles. One of the titles that I'm most proud of is the daughter of immigrants. So my parents are from the Philippines. They moved here in the 1970s to pursue what they believed was the American dream. So they worked really hard. My dad is a radiation oncologist and an oncologic surgeon. My mom is a family practice doctor, although she studied forensic psychology. So I'm one of those people that, like, I just watch crime shows all day long, right? So who has watched the Dahmer show on Netflix? Are you kidding? Anyway, so that's what I'm into. So I get that from my mom. So, my parents were really, they worked hard, right? They wanted to succeed, right? They had that immigrant hustle, which is real, by the way. And so they pushed my brother and sister and me as well to succeed. My brother is a trauma surgeon in Ohio. My sister is a therapist in Kentucky. And then I went into diversity, of course. And so, the thing about this work is that, when you're born into this kind of family, you are really different. You kind of know immediately that you're different. And that carried with me into my high school years and into my college years. And why? Because nobody looked like my parents. Nobody wore the clothes that we wore. Nobody had the same food that we had. I didn't speak English until I was in 2nd grade as my primary language. I spoke Tagalog. And so people made fun of me, because I had this accent and nobody could really understand me. And so it wasn't until Indiana University, when I went to college, that I actually found this calling of mine. And I found that I could advocate for others, and I really wanted to fight, for justice. And so I've been in this field of diversity and inclusion for about 20 years. I know I look like I'm 12, right? They're like 20, right? As Maza mentioned, I've done this work in a lot of places, academic medicine, pharmaceuticals, now in finance and insurance. So I've been, really, really lucky. In law enforcement, I was one of the consultants for the Ohio Attorney General's office, working with community policing. We call it now community policing, working with a variety of flagship police academies across the country to make sure that we were talking about diversity and inclusion with our police. At Cincinnati Children's, I helped build the International Patient Care Wing. There, I specialized in highly acute hematology oncology kiddos from the Arab Gulf, bringing them to Cincinnati, getting some of the best care at Cincinnati Children's. Went on to Johns Hopkins Medicine, where I was the Deputy Chief Diversity Officer of the corporation, and then the Senior Director of Diversity for their School of Medicine. And while we did a lot of amazing things there, I think the number one thing I'm the most proud of at Hopkins is building the Center for Transgender Care. Hopkins was Hopkins for 150 years before I joined Hopkins, so I was like, how am I actually gonna make a difference, right, at Hopkins? And so creating the largest affirmative care center for transgender patients on the East Coast is what we did when I was there. So very, very happy about that. So, then I joined Allstate. And when I joined Allstate about a year ago, a little bit of a year ago, I told my kiddos. So I am also a single mom. I have 4 boys. Yeah, wow. You think that's a big deal. So it's 2 sets of twins. So it's not just like, it's just 4 boys. Yeah, so Luke and Isaac are 14. They're freshmen in high school, so they just had homecoming yesterday, so it was really cute. And then the younger twins are 9, and they are in 4th grade. That's Andis and Oscar, so they're amazing. I was telling this, I was introducing myself to a room like this one time, and I said, and I have 2 sets of twins, and like somewhere in the audience, somebody goes, why? And I was like, wait, what? I was like, who said that? It's weird. I was like, how do you answer that? Anyway, we also have 3 dogs. As if life isn't crazy enough, we just went and got 3 dogs. Lily is a 1-year-old lab mix. Sora is a 2-year-old Doberman. And then Stan is a 5-year-old Shih Tzu, and he runs. I mean, don't feel sad for him because he runs the ship. So things are pretty hectic, right? At my house, it's loud, right? You have 4 boys that want to know everything about everything, right? They want to know, like, what do you do, Mom, for a living? What kind of superpower do you want? That's a big thing, like, right now, right? So they love Marvel, they love DC Comics, and so they ask me questions about, if you could have any superpower in the world, what would you have, right? And these are, like, real serious conversations as I tell them to get the weapons off of the table, right? These are like serious conversations, right? And so this concept of heroes is a pretty popular concept, right? We all know what heroes are. The concept of heroes actually became very popular in the 1940s, like 1949. There's this author, his name is Joseph Campbell, and he came up with what's called the hero's journey. And many of you already know what this is, mainly because you've watched a lot of movies, right? So like The Lion King or Black Panther or any of the Wonder Woman series, this is a hero's journey. So essentially, this hero, Luke Skywalker, for example, right, he hears this calling, right? He wants to shift things from what is status quo, what he considers kind of typical or comfortable, and he has to leave, okay? So he kind of leaves begrudgingly. And when he leaves, he meets these allies and detractors, and he gets kind of confused, and he's like, oh my gosh, I kind of want to go back because I don't really feel comfortable, but he accepts his destiny, and he moves forward, and then the hero comes back to his home after going through all of these chaotic things, and he is better for it, right? He is better for it, systems are better for it, he comes back new and refreshed, and he's learned a lot of great things, right? So why do I bring this up now? What does that have to even do, with anything but my kids? That's really what diversity is. So your leadership talked earlier about what diversity is. Diversity really is moving away from a sense of comfort, right? Accepting that, And then moving and saying, golly, man, like I don't really know what I'm doing. You kind of meet detractors who say, God, what are you doing? Are you sure you really want to do this? You know, you meet allies like me who say, no, you can do it, right? You learn things. You have to make a decision if you're going to go back or if you're going to move forward. And if you do, you find typically that you learn a lot of amazing things. And you can bring all these great learnings back to your systems, to your colleagues, your patients, your communities, and you are better. Your communities are better, right? And your work is better. And so that's what we're actually going to talk about. The title today was Return on Investment. We're going to talk about that. But so where does this all start for us in the medical community? And when I say us, again, I came from you all, right? My parents were both doctors, spent a lot of time in clinics. And so I came from where you all came from. And so part of our history is the Tuskegee experiments in Tuskegee, Alabama. And this is actually what was considered culturally competent care. Because the nurses and doctors went there, right? They brought a black nurse with them, so there was a concordance between race. So the Tuskegee experiments, as we all know, was run by the US government and the CDC for 40 years, from 1932 to 1972, where the purpose was to follow untreated syphilis in patients, primarily black men, in Alabama. These black men were misinformed. They were given placebos, thinking that they were getting real treatment for syphilis. They were not. And as a result of this, over 100 people died, including many of these men and including many of their relatives, right? So why are we talking about, why Eloiza, golly, like you've totally come full circle. The reason why is because we're still talking about it, right? We're still feeling the contemporary impact of these things like mistrust, historical trauma, right? You also see that as clinicians in things like lack of communication efficiency between you and patients who might be different than you, right? Longer wait times, lack of adherence to medical plan, medical outcome is poorer for certain communities, right? So we're still kind of seeing this. And so this is the criticality of having some of these conversations and really having real conversations, forcing yourselves to kind of think about this hero's journey, right? So one takeaway that I want you to think about tonight, and it's going to be fun. You all are probably drunk, it's fine. So you just if you don't take anything away, just think about this. There are 3 things, right, I want you to think about. And it's super, super easy to make a good diversity program last, okay? You want to think of accountability. You want to think about integration, and you want to think about representation, okay? So you want to look like the communities in which you live, work, and serve, right? That's pretty basic, right? Hashtag representation matters. I identify as a Filipina female. I have never in my life had a Filipina female doctor. Never. I've had a whole bunch of nurses. Never had a Filipina doctor other than one for my kiddos, a PCP for my kiddos, and I had to seek her out. She was in Baltimore. But I have never had one myself, okay? So representation does matter, right? Think about, when you travel and you see somebody who speaks the same language as you or looks like you. I'm telling you, you automatically trust them, right? You automatically are like, I know who you are, right? This is cool. You look like my parents, right? That's what representation does. And for you all as clinicians and people who care for patients, that trust, that inherent trust is really critical, right? Holding your leaders accountable, holding your systems accountable, of course, and then integrating. You never want to just plug diversity in, right? Oftentimes diversity can be seen as a program you just plug in, you kind of leave it there. But you know what? The reason why you don't want to just plug it in is because you can take it out just as quickly, right? You want to integrate it into the systems, you want to make it a part of everything that you do, and that's how it becomes sustainable. So what is the return on the investment? So here are just some of the things, okay? So your revenue goes up. I know that, again, for many of you who are clinicians or on the front line, you may not see some of these final numbers, but I want you to think about this as a business, right? Your consumers are your patients, the communities in which you live, work, and serve, and their families and their friends. You will grow your revenue. There's tons and tons and tons of evidence that shows this. The more diverse that you are, especially your leadership, the higher your revenue and the more market share you receive, sometimes in the numbers of 35,000 in comparison to 22,000 for companies who are not as diverse as their peers, okay? And the thing is about this is that none of us live in this vacuum anymore. I mean, we live in this really unique world right now where there's a lot of divisive rhetoric, right? There's a lot of conversations around, about hate and separation and all of this stuff. And I'm not trying to make a political conversation about this, I'm not. What I'm saying is that the more that people talk about diversity, the more it kind of gets mixed up with this idea of, oh, you're trying to separate, right? And that's not what it's about. The reason I'm bringing this up is because for you all as leaders, I'm pushing you to understand what CSR is or ESG. CSR is corporate social responsibility. ESG is environment, social risk, or social and government. In order to implement your diversity programs or your diversity kind of work or efforts, you want to think about making it sustainable, okay? Consumers now, your consumers right now, are much more intelligent, much more engaged, much more informed than consumers before. They want to match their values, they want their values to match those of their consumer, right? Why is it that you will see consumers drive past Walmart and go to Target to buy their things, even though Target is further away and costs more money than Walmart? Why? Because Target does a lot around different values for different families and different multicultural communities, right? Particularly actually kiddos with disabilities. You see all of their marketing, right? They promote LGBTQ diversity, right? So again, you see a lot of that money moving away from places like a Walmart, going further to show loyalty to places like a Target. And this is what this is about, okay? Environment, which is climate, social risk, S, which is essentially man-made disasters like these mass shootings and those kinds of things, and then G is how we make, governance is how we make, decisions. So you want to think about that, as well as you move forward in your diversity efforts. So let's just get, to kind of the meat, the three major takeaways, right? Match your market. Match your market, match your market, match your market, right? So much of my work in my doctoral studies was around concordance. There's lots and lots and lots of research that shows that if you match the language, race, and or gender of the patients and communities that you serve, there is higher show-up rate, there's higher satisfaction, there's higher adherence to plan, medical outcome is better, right? Actually, even the wait time in lobbies go down. It's incredible, right? So all of these things matter. But the thing is that it's almost impossible, actually, to match your market. 87%, by the way, of all medical interactions in the United States, 87% are disconcordant, which essentially means that even if I'm with, for example, a female OB-GYN, she's probably not Filipina. She probably doesn't speak Tagalog, right? She probably isn't a daughter of immigrants. So there's some sort of disconcordance between me and my provider, 87% of the time. So how do you fill that gap? Education and training, just like this. Open conversations, open and transparent dialogue, right? Where you can come and talk about this and have humble conversations about how to be, right, a hero in your own right, okay? So I would encourage you to mandate conversations. When I say mandate, I basically mean like highly encourage, right? But having these kinds of conversations are really important, right? But the thing is that regardless of how much you match your market, regardless of how much you actually match and look like the communities in which you live, work, and serve, no matter how much you educate everybody, the one thing that you still need to do is make sure that you look at your systems, okay? So healthcare is one of those systems that was built off of many, many, many assumptions, okay? It assumes that the patient can read, write, and understand English at like a 12th grade level, okay? And they can understand it while running through the hospital and looking and figuring out which hotel, like which elevator to go in, right? They have to understand all of that. It also assumes that you have the money to pay for this really, really expensive care. It also makes the assumption that you are comfortable talking to authority and challenging authority. That's a whole lot of assumptions. For me, none of that was true when I was younger. I didn't speak English. As an authority member, one day I was doing this kind of work, and my parents were in the back, and they were like, "You did great. That was fun, whatever." And I went to their car, and I was kind of still in this like mode, right? This Eloiza superpower mode. And I walk over, and I was like, "Hi, Mom." I was like, "Hey, Mom, did you like it? What was it good? Da-da-da." And she was just looking at me, and I was like, "Why? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's going on?" And she's like, "You better get Filipino really fast." And I was like, "Oh, great, And so what she meant by that, right, I'm looking at people who are like, yeah, what she meant by saying you better get Filipino really fast is that I was showing too much authority over her, over an authority member, right? I was looking at her in the eye. I was too close to her. I was really excited, right? I was not showing deference to my parents, right? And some of you might look at me and be like, golly, that's really interesting. But if you understand that systems were built off of those assumptions, then systems can make it hard to be successful, right? In certain places. So you want to think, you want to think about that. I'll give you one quick example. And actually, I think this is my last slide. At Cincinnati Children's, as I mentioned, I worked with a lot of kiddos from the Arab Gulf. And when they were in inpatient hematology oncology, after they got better, they went to outpatient, but they had to come into day clinic every day. So when you called as a parent, you automatically got 20 minutes at the day clinic, automatically, okay? So it doesn't matter if you were Ahmad, if you were Eloiza, if you were Maza, if you were John, 20 minutes, it doesn't really matter, okay? So what happened is the nurses were like, oh my gosh, these Arab kiddos take so long to take care of. They take forever to take care of. But everybody got 20 minutes, like what's the deal, right? But we were finding this like stress and anxiety with the nurses. So what my team and I came in and did, we got the room use data. We cut the room use data by language, Spanish, Arabic, and English. So again, you got 20 minutes. What we found was that the English-speaking patients on average were in the rooms for 25 minutes. So not too bad, right? Not too bad. Doesn't cause a lot of patient issues in terms of flow. Our Spanish-speaking patients were in there for twice as long. And our Arabic-speaking patients 4 times as long. 4 times as long, right? Why? Because many languages are longer, right? In different languages. You also have a medical interpreter who was there. There's a lot of things about the number of people in that entourage that were coming with a kiddo from Kuwait or from Saudi Arabia. So there were a variety of things that algorithm, that 20-minute algorithm did not take into account. It favored families who spoke English, okay? So we rewrote the algorithm. I think that right now at Cincinnati, at the day clinic, the algorithm is something more like a 35-minute, and then we're really working with our Arabic families or Arabic-speaking families to really support them, right, to get the best possible care. So again, I really only had a few minutes just to kind of hopefully make an impression and push you all to really think about, the work that you're doing. When I joined the medical field, one of my mentors said to me, this is one of the only fields where you can come into a room as a stranger. You can, and I know you all don't do this. If you do, that's really amazing. You walk in as a patient, as a stranger comes up to you and says, take off all of your clothes, put on this paper dress, sit up here. Let me ask you a whole bunch of intimate questions, right? About like who you sleep with, who they are, where you live, who's your kids, where you live, what did you eat, when's the last time you pooped, right? And they ask you all these questions, right? And you answer, right? You answer happily, right? Because somebody's about to take care of you and make you better, right? Then they leave and another stranger walks in and does the exact same thing and probably puts stuff up in you and you're better, right? There is only one other system in the United States or in the world that does that. What is it? What is it? Prison. It's the only other system in the world that will ask you to do all of that stuff, ask you all those questions, assume that you're going to answer the questions. And why? Because we're going to try to take care of you, right? So our goal, let me take it back to the hero's journey, right? Spider-Man always says, with great power comes great responsibility. I miss the healthcare system. I miss being in healthcare a lot. And one of the reasons why is because when you take care of patients and you take care of their families and their friends, it's a huge responsibility, right? Our market is changing. Our market, you all are super, super diverse. Actually, even me standing up here, I'm like, wow, this is like a really diverse crowd. And even then, your kiddos are more diverse. Their kiddos are more diverse, right? So I would just really encourage you, if you aren't already, really sincerely think about what your candidate slates look like, what your pipelines look like, what resources you have, how you're translating your documents, right? Just having these kinds of transparent dialogues, that's really what that, again, think about that hero's journey. It's going to be really uncomfortable. You're going to want to turn back, right? But the return on the investment is certainly worth it, and it's certainly going to put you in a better place, but your businesses in a better place, and make your patients and your families much more trusting and ready to be, with you. So I want to congratulate you on a beautiful night. Thank you so much for having me here, and I'll hand it back to Maza.
I am very excited now to move into the 2022 Leadership Awards. I want to congratulate everybody who is nominated. As I said in the beginning, being nominated is a recognition of your peers, of what you've done to contribute to diversity, leadership, inclusion in ophthalmology. So that's just a wonderful, wonderful recognition. And now it's time to celebrate the winners of all of this. First and foremost, though, I know we have a lot of previous winners in this room. Can you stand very quickly? Because this is something that we're just going to continue recognizing you over and over again. So let's add to that group, everybody. I am going to introduce Rex Chandler from Star Surgical, who's going to come up and present our Rising Star Award. For the record, I have been waiting for a long time for Star to support this, the Rising Star Award. It just makes sense. Rex, please come on up.
All right, well, good evening. As Erin said, I'm Rex Chandler with Star Surgical, and we are very pleased to introduce the 2022 Rising Star Award. So if you don't know the Rising Star Award, you should. Great group of folks up here. So the Rising Star Award is an individual who is an emerging leader in ophthalmic community. Nominees are in their early to mid careers, and they demonstrate great potential for making an impact in the field of ophthalmology, which obviously that's where we are, right? This year's extraordinary finalists are Dr. Jacqueline Armani. Yes. And Dr. Kate Fellharbor, excuse me. See, where's Kristen? Kristen, I told you I would mess that up, and I did. And then Dr. Maza Martin, but Maza Martin, so you're a doctor now. So congratulations to all three for their extraordinary work, and we're happy for their tremendous work that they're doing and they continue to do. But on behalf of Star Surgical, we are pleased to announce that Dr. Jacqueline Armani, you are the Rising Star winner.
And I had the privilege and honor to nominate Dr. Jacqueline Armani for OWL's Rising Star Award for 2022. Many of you are already familiar with Jackie because of her participation not only in OWL, but WIO for the past few years. For those of you that don't know Jackie, I had the pleasure of joining Jackie as one of the Alcon Surgical MSL team original group 6.5 years ago. She was the bright-eyed young member of our team, and I think Arthur brought me on board to add diversity and inclusivity as the old guy. I can tell you that this old guy has learned so much from Jackie. She has become a leader not only for our MSL team, but also to the field of ophthalmology, and will continue to do so for decades to come. Congratulations, Jackie. You are a winner in my eyes, and I don't have cataracts, so my vision isn't cloudy. By the way, if you see anyone in this room that looks like me but wearing a suit, beware, he is from the multiverse. Thank you and congratulations.
Hi Jackie, congratulations on being the recipient of the OWL Rising Star Award. I am so proud of you. I cannot think of anyone more deserving of this award. You are an inspiration to all. You lead by example, you lead with poise, dignity, and class. And I am honored that you're my peer, but most importantly, my friend. I hope you get a chance to celebrate tonight. Cheers to you. Congratulations again.
Jackie, congrats on being the OWL 2022 Rising Star Award winner. Super excited for you. When you look back at our careers, it all started in an airport. We were both pretty travel weary from visiting customers, and now has blossomed into an amazing friendship. So I'm super thankful for that. And that's in spite of you being a Giants fan and me being an Eagles fan. So who says we can't get along? But in all seriousness, if you look back upon, what OWL has done for our industry, right? The opportunities it provides, the networking it provides, and really moving the industry forward, there's no more deserving person than you. I see time and time again you going out of your way to help your own teammates, your customers, and the entire industry. So for that, I am super thankful. I am honored to call you a friend, and I am super excited to celebrate with you back there for a celebratory drink later. Congratulations.
Okay, wow. I need a second. As Erin said, there it goes. There's a lot of people here, which is amazing to see. Be connectors, you guys. From my first meeting, similar to Kristen, that's something that I remember is everyone kind of coming forward and introducing me and bringing me around. And just seeing that tonight, be a connector, keep it going. Industry, young doctors, older doctors, all of you guys are really the reason that we have this leadership, we have all of this. This is so humbling. I am so honored. Congratulations to my fellow finalists. Being amongst you is amazing. I was already just humbled being nominated, so thank you. As I reflect back on, it's going to be 10 years that I've joined industry. All my mentors starting there, Chuck, Alan, Tom, who you've been mentors to me when I first joined, since then. Michael, Joanne, Arthur. I can't see everyone because of the lights, but thank you guys for taking a chance on me at Alcon and developing me and continuing to be my mentors every single day. David, hugs. I'm learning from you each and every day. To everyone else, Phil, you're amazing. It all started with my parents, my family, my friends, so thank you to my entire team. I'm a little emotional, sorry, I'm not usually like this, but it's really humbling and I really appreciate all of you. Thank you all. Thank you to my amazing mentors. Thank you.
So, number one, I just couldn't help but think, what is Jim O'Connor wearing underneath? Like, that was a little bit too high up to make me comfortable. Jackie, so well deserving. It's humbling to have you part of this as well as the other nominees. Oh my goodness. All right, we're gonna move on to our next award, the Catalyst Award, supported by Corneagen. And it's going to be presented by Jared Young. Jared, would you like to come on up?
Well, as Erin just said, I'm Jared with Corneagen, and on behalf of Corneagen, we are honored to sponsor the 2022 AAO Catalyst Award. The Catalyst Award honors an individual who has contributed significantly to helping others advance their career in eye care. In addition to that, all of our nominees and finalists tonight have demonstrated leadership in helping advance diversity. So before we announce the winner, I'd like to honor all three of the people up on the screen right now. Our finalists, Susan Benton, Rana Jaraha, and Magda Mishna. So congratulations to all the finalists, and thank you so much for everything you have done to get to this point and to help others in this career. So tonight's winner of the 2022 AAO Catalyst Award is Magda Mishna.
I wanted to congratulate my good friend Magda Mishna on the Catalyst Award by AAO. Truly well-deserved for one of the most brilliant, intelligent, and talented women I know. And I'm really so honored to call you my friend, Magda. Your dedication, your hard work, your drive, your follow-through are truly exemplary. And you are truly a catalyst. You bring together the science, the people, the business, to really drive innovation and technology in our field. And you really do all of this with grace, with your genuine, kind, and pure heart, and your brilliance in class. And again, congratulations, and it is such a well-deserved award.
When I was first notified that our very own Magda Michna was the 2022 recipient of Al's Catalyst Award, obviously I was thrilled for Magda, but I was equally thrilled for our entire industry. And let me tell you a little bit about Magda so I can explain that. As a little girl, Magda's family escapes what was then communist Poland. They make their way to Vienna as refugees and eventually land in Australia, where young Magda attends the University of Melbourne and eventually obtains a terminal degree, a PhD in optical physics. And then she begins her ascent in her career. We all know today she's Chief Clinical Regulatory and Medical Affairs Officer. But we're not here to celebrate all those personal achievements. We're here to celebrate what she's done with that platform. And let me tell you what some of those things are. She didn't push people aside to get where she's at. She brought people with her, and she brought diverse people with her. She's mentored within the company, she's mentored across the company, and she mentors across our industry, giving of her time and talents and energy. When I think of Magda, I just think of how authentic she is and just the highest degree of integrity that comes with her. So for me, Magda is the walking embodiment of what this award is all about. So yes, I'm happy for Magda, but it's a win for all of us.
Dearest Dr. Magda Michna, hugest congratulations to you. You are such a warm, wonderful, kind, magnanimous mentor, colleague, and friend in ophthalmology. I am so fortunate to be able to have worked with you for so many years now, especially more closely over the last few years at AcuFocus. And you are truly just a brilliant mind. I love learning from you, and I am surrounded by a lot of brilliant minds. There are tons of us in this room tonight, but I will say, you are brilliant of the brilliant. I only know one physicist, and not just a physicist, you are an optics physicist. So just an impeccably brilliant mind. Hugest congratulations to you on receiving the Al Catalyst Award.
Wow, we do need a step still up here. So if we're all about inclusion, those of us that are short need to also be included. Oh, man, a little bit emotional. Thank you all. First of all, thank you. You're all my friends, friendly colleagues, and I'm so grateful and honored to be nominated for this award with two women who are catalysts in our industry. So it is real honor to be nominated with both Rana and with Susan. The work that Rana does with Young MD Connect is truly inspirational. And the work that Susan does in helping to support young women and men in our industry is really something we should see as a gift. So thank you, both of you. Thank you to all the sponsors of tonight's event and awards. And special thanks to Cornea Jen. I'm a huge fan of yours. What you do to really help people and improve the lives of people with corneal disease is an inspiration to us all. So yay to you. So, and of course, Al, man, I've been with you guys a long time and I love you to death. I do. I've been a part of the National Committee now with co-chair with Marzo on programs, as well as the SoCal chapter, and I really just can't do it, I can't do enough. I just love this organization and I love you all. Thank you. So, just thinking about, what I was gonna say, when I was 16 years old, I went to a presentation by a woman called Rachel Webster. She was chair of the astrophysics department at the University of Melbourne, and I was like, wow, a female physicist, that's what I wanted to be. And to see one for the first time in the flesh was so inspirational to me. I'm a Polish physicist, just like Marie Curie, so she was always someone I admired in the books, but to see a woman in the flesh was quite inspirational to me and made a huge impact on my life. Rachel was also co-founder of the Australian Institute of Physics Women in Physics organisation. I ended up joining that organisation. It made a tremendous impact on my life and on the lives of many women, young women especially in Australia, who were looking to careers in physics. What I realised at the time about that organisation, as I do about OWL, is the tremendous impact that we can make both on each other's lives, our careers, but also to our communities. So I'm extremely proud to be part of this organisation because we make such an enormous impact in our communities. So, I encourage you all, as Rana and Susan have shown us, to really embrace opportunities to help each other in this industry. It's small. We're all very intimately connected to one another, and I think that's one of the greatest things about what we do. So as Kristen said, though, our work is not done. We have many opportunities to support one another, but the future is bright when we're part of organisations like OWL. I just want to end with an excerpt from a poem that I really love. It says, "But farther yet we still must go. Let us not rest until we know that every corner of this earth counts everyone of equal worth." Thank you.
Hold on. Look at the shoes. Those in the back need to see the shoes. She's not only an optical physicist, she's a fashion model, guys. Oh my goodness. All right, we've got one more. Our next is the Visionary Leader Award presented by Apellis. And if I'm not incorrect, 56 days until the PDUFA. Is that accurate, Apellis? Yes, right? What, Beth? Yes? Okay, 56. All right, we're going to have Lanya Bingo come up and please present that. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lanya Bingo, and Apellis Pharmaceuticals is proud and honored to present OWL's 2022 Visionary Leader Award. The Visionary Leader Award is given to someone who has paved the way for diversity in their field through significant achievement. Nominees have demonstrated leadership in their field throughout their careers. This year's exceptional finalists were Jeanette Bankies, Dr. Eric Donnenfeld, and Nancy Lurker. An impossible choice when voting. Sincere congratulations to all three who were nominated by their peers for their exceptional leadership and impact in the eye care space. On behalf of Apellis, I'm pleased to present the 2022 OWL Visionary Leader Award to Jeanette Bankies.
I'm so proud that Jeanette is being recognized with this OWL Visionary Award at the AAO. It's a great honor, especially since she was nominated by the OWL community. The award highlights her commitment and support for diversity throughout her career, and this truly benefits everyone in our industry. Among Jeanette's numerous contributions are restoring Alcon's commitment to core scientific R&D and our interactions with the many women who are thought leaders in the ophthalmic community. She's also been a great mentor to a number of our most talented women and contributing to their ongoing successes. And finally, she's been leading efforts on sustainability in our product development, which will pay dividends in the long term. So Jeanette, all of us at Alcon are proud of you, and we're proud of all the contributions you've made for the company. We congratulate you on this well-deserved recognition.
Jeanette, I want to congratulate you on receiving the 2022 Visionary Award for OWL. I cannot think of a more deserving awardee. You are a terrific mentor, you're a role model, and you're somebody who's authentic and absolutely passionate and dedicated to elevating others around you, to really focusing, leaning in, and thinking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and being intentional about how you look to the future and find people who you can mentor, you can lift up, you can help them along their pathway, give them skills they need to exceed what they're doing currently and to advance to the next level. So I think our industry is better for having you in it. I am better as a physician and as a leader for knowing you, and I just wholeheartedly and enthusiastically just delighted for you in receiving this award. Congratulations.
Jeanette, congratulations for being recognized by AL for being a visionary leader. Having watched you over the last decade grow both personally and professionally, there was no doubt in my mind that at some point you would be recognized for your leadership and your leadership character. You've developed programs that allow people to grow in safe environments. You've put people in challenging and demanding roles and stretched them and supported them. And then you have let them grow as leaders and individuals who can lead the organization and the industries that we serve. It's an amazing recognition, and Al is exactly point on by giving this to you. Congratulations and thank you for walking the talk.
Whew, I wasn't expecting that last video. Magna, I get what you're feeling, the heart. As I stand up here, is Eric still in the room? Is Donenfeld still with us? I think he was traveling. He has to go back for surgeries, as well as Nancy. Nancy, please stand up. Stand up, please. This is not an individual award. I know we like to award individuals. This is a collective award. It's no one individual that can do it alone. We don't walk this path alone. That last video was probably the most important to me, and I say that because 4 years ago, I took a leap. I took a leap because of that beautiful human being called Michael Onishek. I was at a company called Boston Scientific, very different space, very different field. And while I enjoyed 15 years of Boston, Michael rang me and said, Alcon needs you, ophthalmology needs you. And I couldn't understand that. My biggest fear coming into this space, in particular the company I chose to join while they're a leader in its space, is do the people of that company have the appetite to want to evolve? That was the biggest question. You can be a leader, but are you truly a hero? I like our keynote tonight. Are you the one that's going to take the edges and push us further than we ever imagined? That was Michael Onishek that talked to me and convinced me to come to Alcon 4 years ago. Why I loved the employer I was with, I looked into the space, I met with some of the leaders, and I realized that they play a big role. Alcon's a very large company globally. And who better to set the pace and evolve the culture than somebody like Alcon? So while Eric Donenfeld as well as Nancy were nominated, it takes all of us to do it. It's no single individual award here tonight. So I'm humbled and honored to actually get this award. While being very new into your space, I consider myself a baby yet with only 4 years at Alcon. We have a lot to do. I've always valued healthcare. Ask why we all value it. It's because every day we wake up, regardless of our title, regardless of our badge, and we look and we're proud of what we do on a daily basis. I had to laugh. Eric said to me, I loved your speech 2 years ago. You told people to get shit done. We're here to get GSD. And that comes to diversity and inclusion as well. There's not a single badge in this room that can't make a difference. And so for that, I'm humbled to have this award tonight. I also know that it takes a village. I look at all my Alcon people. You had to want to evolve. You can add a Jeanette Bankus, you can add a Michael Onishek into an organization, but do you have the appetite and ability and brain power to want to evolve? Thank you to my peers at Alcon because you clearly want to evolve. This award is yours tonight, not mine tonight. Evolution comes with the entire company. The last piece of this, and I would ask my son, my husband, and his girlfriend Allison to please stand up. My youngest son is at Arizona State. Go Devils. These folks have sacrificed a lot. To ask them in the middle of a junior year, my son, my youngest son, do you want to move to Texas? We live in Minneapolis. I'm pulling you out of your school in your junior year. He signed up and said, yes, Mom, absolutely. My oldest son, we've done 5 moves. It takes a village in your own household to realize that there's more than just us. There's the whole world that depends on us. My husband is my hero. I wouldn't be a head of a company without a spouse that has endlessly allowed to take sacrifices of travel some years that were more than any of us would ever want to imagine. So to my family, I thank you for letting me be my whole self, both in the household and for the greater good of everybody that deserves it. For my family, I love you, both my Alcon family as well as my biological family. Thank you, guys.
I'm gonna ask all of our award recipients of this year and previous years to please stand one more time. We're creating that village. My goodness. Thank you everyone for coming. It's an inspiring evening. Thank you so much to our keynote speaker. Thank you so much for the contributions of all of our award winners and really everybody in this room. I just, every single time I leave an event like this, I'm re-energized. And I hope that all of you are too. May 7th, 5:30 p.m., San Diego. Thank you all so much for coming. Enjoy your academy. Stay well.